land, all the cattle, all the houses, everything that is, God has given us. And Abraham was giving God glory and tribute for what that he had given. And he said, Lot, the least we cannot do is stand here and have trouble over what God's given us. I say tonight, brother, the church of the living God will never have trouble over what God has given us if they know what holiness is. They'll never have trouble if the wall is not painted the color they wanted. I'm telling you, it doesn't make any difference. Lot stood in the midst of it. And he said, I'll tell you what. He said, Lot, he said, you take whatever you want. I'll stand here and you choose which you'd rather have. That old rocky hillside that God has given us, because God has blessed me on that rocky hillside. And if that's what I end up with, Abraham thought in his heart, that's all right with me. If I just end up with 2 acres of all we have, it will be worth it to still have love of God and fellowship. Brother, let me tell you, no matter what it costs, there is nothing worth breaking the fellowship in the church of the living God. There's nothing worth breaking fellowship over in any church. I don't care wherever it is. I don't always get things my way at home. I don't always get my way at work. I don't always get my way wherever I go. But nevertheless, I don't sit down in the corner and pout about it. I say, well, Lord, this is what you wanted me to do. And most of the time, when I don't get my way, I found out that I'm a lot better off than if I'd have gone in my own stubborn way, wanting something I didn't need to begin with. And so he said, Lot, you take what you want. So Lot got out there and he looked. Lot didn't know much about holiness. He didn't know what it was to be humble. He didn't know what it was. He looked at the earthly thing. You know what? There's folk today that's got their mind so much on the earthly things of this world. They've got it so much on the comforts and the good things of life that they don't even think about those who don't have anything. I thank God that if they take up an offering in that church, that it goes down the road, maybe to some widow that can't buy her medicine, that it goes across to somebody who can't pay the rent. It goes to somebody that's not as fortunate as we are. And when we do that, that's the holiness of God. But Abraham said, Lot, you choose what you want. I'll go with God either way. Lot looked at the well-watered plains of Sodom. He didn't look at what lied beyond the plains and the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, but he said, I've got my eyes on it. So immediately Lot didn't pray about it. He didn't ask God about it. He didn't think about it. He just said, I've got my mind made up. I want to go down there and I want to rest. I want to work. I want to have what all's down there. He said, Abraham, I'll take that. Abraham said, fine, you go on. Lot had no more party from Abraham until God spoke to Abraham and said, Abraham, I will give you a seed. I will give you a great nation. I will give you land. I will give you everything. I'm going to bless you. I thank God, brother, God can bring you more blessing standing on an old rock farm than you can get in the streets of New York City and Wall Street. If you'll just trust the Lord and have holiness, God's going to take care of you. And another good example of holiness is when this poor beggar had gone from Jerusalem down to Jericho. And as he's on his road, here come the thieves and the robbers. Here come those people that wanted what he had. They not only took what he had, but they wounded him. They beat him up like people do today. There's people today that would kill you just to have the fun of watching you die. There's people today that will rob you, and why is it? I remember back when I was a kid, people didn't even lock their doors. God, they never thought about locking the doors. And anybody could come in. They didn't think anything about it. You didn't carry a gun, unless you're a mean person or something. You never thought. You went out after dark and never given a thought. Our kids went out to play and never even thought about somebody coming along and snatching them up and taking them and doing horrible things to them. You could turn your kids loose in the store. They could go all over while you shop. But I tell you now, there's something wrong with you if you let your child go down one aisle while you go down the other. Because that's just how the world is getting. There's nothing here that pertains to holiness anymore except in the hearts of people that have been born again and love the Lord and care for God. Now sometimes in life you're going to get beat up. It's not that you got beat up, but it's how that you had it. And so this fellow was lying in the ditch dying. Here came by a priest. Now he had on his clerical garb, no doubt, collar turned around backwards and everything else. But when he walked by, he thought, he's a priest. He gets up and tells people the law. He tells people how to live. And he's a priest, but he is so probably proud. And there's this old fellow laying in the street. Well, he don't amount to much anyway. He's dirty, he's filthy. I just haven't got time to fool with him. I'll go on by. But yet, go on somewhere as a priest and probably tell somebody how holy he is. Listen, holiness would have been if that priest had said, that man needs help. I'll cancel my appointment. Doesn't matter where I'm going. And I'm coming to church Sunday morning, and I come to church. I love to come to church. I run across a car wreck on the road. There's somebody needs my help. And now, which is the more holy? For me to go off and leave them laying there in the road and not helping them, not taking time, although I'm going to be late for church, although I may miss church entirely, not calling 911 or whatever it is, or waiting with them and giving them comfort. Or should I just come on to church and say, I saw some guy look like he's dying down the road, but Brother God wanted me here. Listen, let me tell you something. Holiness would be to stop and help that person, a total stranger, and help him and pick him up and do the best you can for him, and then you will know that you've got holiness. It's not that I was too busy doing God's work to help somebody. You know, when you get too busy to help somebody, you're not doing God's work. Amen? Amen. Well, anyway, that was the example of holiness. Another guy came by who was a Levite. You all know what a Levite was? Well, the Levites were chosen to carry the ark in the Old Testament. The Levites were the strongest religious order of the day. But yet, when he came by with all of his religion, all of his laws, all of his knowledge, everything knowing the law from, every jot and tittle there was in it, but when he saw the man, he looked at him and simply passed him on by. Folks, I'll tell you what, if the church has got a mission in life, if Christians have got one mission in life, above all others, that is helping each other. Amen. Amen? That is helping each other. Not criticizing each other, not blaspheming each other, not pouting at each other. But our whole mission as a Christian should be to reach out and help other people. And I know people do that. And I know a lot of you do, probably all of you. And I think that's a mission of this church. It has been, since I've been here, is even when we didn't have much money, offerings weren't very big. And I don't say anything about this to brag. It's not that. Out of compassion. Don't do it and go brag, say, I put that veil on there. I brought this. I brought the carpet. I did all that. That takes away the compassion. That takes away the holiness of it all. You can buy a black hat. You can buy all black clothes, black shoes, and wear a white shirt. And you can all dress alike. And you can't get into church unless you're dressed that way. That's not holiness. Holiness is what you've got underneath that black suit. Holiness is what you've got down inside. Amen? Amen. Well, anyway, this man passed by. Make a short story long. He passed by on the other side. You know, folks, the church world has come today where that if everything just don't suit that congregation or that organization or whatever, they pass you by. Pass you by. No altar calls given for the sinners anymore. No healing services for those that need to be anointed, prayed for. We got too big a hurry to let God work. But he passed on by. It's too big a hurry. Now here's an example of holiness. Here was a good Samaritan on the same road. On the very same road. He was a busy man, no doubt. He probably had all kinds of things he could do. But when he looked and he saw this man in the ditch, he didn't just simply see a wounded man. He didn't just simply see a man that had been done wrong. But he saw a brother. He saw a creation. He saw a man that God had made that belonged to the Lord from the day his birth to his death. He saw a man that was in need. Saw a man that was dying, and if I don't help him, he's not going to make it. So he stopped. He had some oil. He had some wine. Precious stuff in those days. Oil was precious in those days, just like motor oil is precious now. Crude oil is precious. And he went down and poured in the oil, poured in the wine. Said, well, I've done enough. I'll let somebody else take it from here. He already picked the man up. Amen. Listen, folks, sometimes you got to carry some people.